YouTube, welcome back. So, to recap, Dream Catalyst is a book I self-published. I'm assuming that you probably already know that if you're clicking on this video. I'm basically posting a free audiobook / author read to me collection on this channel. So every week, Monday at 6 p.m., I am posting a new chapter. I've already posted 10 chapters so far. We are coming close to the end of the book. So, without further ado, I wanted to read to you chapter 11 and 12. So you get 2 chapters in this, but it's because the second chapter 12 is pretty short. So, Dream Catalyst. It is available on Amazon. Just type in Dream Catalyst, Samantha Mandola, Amazon.com, the American one, not the Canadian one. I don't think. It might give you an issue, but American website ships to Canada, so you can totally buy it. And if you want to, the link for that is down below. If you want to support me that way by purchasing a book, great. If you don't want to purchase a book, I've made this audiobook series free and available for you. Yeah, you can either just listen to this for free, and you can support me through word of mouth by telling people about this book, so people get hyped about it, get interested in it, maybe want to check it out. If you want to purchase this as a gift for a friend, if you you can also just follow me on Instagram and keep supporting my work through social media. You can just watch this series if you like this video and comment and subscribe to the channel. That's also helping me out. So pretty much anything you do in that realm, I really appreciate it. It's really helping me out. But anyway, we are going on to chapters 11 and 12 from Dream Catalyst. So these chapters are a little sad, I'm not gonna lie, and you should probably be caught up if you're going to be listening to these chapters. So I suggest going back and listening to all of the chapters before you listen to this, but to each their own. So let's get started. Chapter 11. If you have the book, it's on page 227. Cyclone. So on page 227, let's do this. Cyclone, chapter 11. I don't believe in soulmates, but I believed in you. Signed, V. V hit the road again. She decided to leave Leary with Art because Leary preferred his company to hers. Leary never did learn how to fully trust V, possibly because V never fully learned how to trust herself. V was on the road again now, and she felt lonely. V booked herself 3 times as many gigs as she did while living with Art. In fact, V worked herself harder than she ever had before. V knew that deep down that her obsessive work ethic compensated for her loneliness. She was trying to distract herself from the lone road, and it had been a while since V last traveled alone. She didn't even have Leary to keep her company anymore. Despite overworking herself to distract from the loneliness, V didn't entirely oppress her feelings on the road. She had creative outlets to help her cope. Her music was her therapy, and she wrote her fair share of the blues. Her songs were meant to call out to Art because she missed him. Every night she requested a seat be reserved for him in the crowd, and while the venues always complied, Art never took his seat. V booked a number of gigs for herself in Toronto. She wanted to be close to Art, hoping he might attend her shows. V phoned Art whenever she was in the city to invite him to the shows. He never came. This chapter is about healing and growth. Windstorms kill the weak in us, so the strong in us may grow. Fear not, dear reader. V is strong and capable of handling herself. V doesn't endure the cyclone alone, but this time I don't come to her aid. Another does. He will help to settle the storms. And though I won't spoil it, read on for yourself. I booked another gig at the venue in Toronto, the one that was attached to the local college. I was eager to perform on a familiar stage again. I hoped this familiar venue would attract the familiar face I yearned for, but he was nowhere in sight. This was my 4th time performing in this festival. To be completely honest, I had outgrown it. I established a large enough fan base now and didn't need the exposure from this organization. I only came back to catch a glimpse of the moon-eyed man, but he never came. I looked at the display table with my merchandise. The same girl always manned the table. She displayed the merch for potential buyers. The spread included my newly released album, my EP, stickers, and some t-shirts I designed. Now my album had a logo printed on the case. It was an illustration of Leary that Art drew for me. I asked him to draw me something that he felt best represented me, so he drew Leary. We decided to call the album Dreamer. Dreamer was not my name, but it was close. I felt I was getting closer. The venue opened the doors to the public, and a sea of people rushed into the auditorium. The show was scheduled to start in 20 minutes. I looked back at the seat reserved to the former moon-eyed partner. The seat was empty, again. The owner of the venue noticed me as I gazed to the crowd. She approached and shook my hand. "It's a pleasure to have you back, V," said the large woman, vigorously shaking my hand. To an outsider, the handshake might have looked excessive, theatrical even, but I knew her well now. Her personality was larger than life. Some found her to be overbearing, but I knew she had a good heart. "It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me back, and thanks for always being so receptive of my new ideas." "Oh, no need to thank me for being open-minded," she chuckled. "I love radical music. Look at Cypher. Invite them back every time their guitarist is in town. Sweet group, the lot of them are." She smiled. This was only my second time performing in the same festival as Cypher. I hadn't gotten the chance to hear them play last time, and I looked forward to hearing their music live today. I turned my attention to the stage and noticed a few of their musicians setting up. I didn't see Wonderlust. Cypher swapped out their musicians, and the make of their band was dependent on who was in the city and available to play that night. My thought lingered back to Art in the night I first met him here. I turned to the manager. "I have to make a call," I told her. "Will you excuse me?" "Of course, but make it quick because the show is starting soon." She smiled. "Do you have a payphone by chance?" I asked. The manager laughed. "A payphone? Still haven't gotten your own cell phone, have you?" She chuckled. You have got to be the only millennial I know without a cell phone. Hell, you might be the only person I know without a cell phone, period. I just got my grandmother one last month. She posts on Instagram daily now. Here, take my cell." She tossed me her cell phone. I thanked her and turned to the exit. I was used to the commentary. I didn't understand how I could live without a cell phone in this day and age, but truth be told, I always got along just fine. I didn't want to be gotten a hold of. In actuality, there was really only one person I wanted to reach out to me, and he was not interested in returning my calls. That person was Art. Aside from him, I did not want to be contacted. This was an abstract concept for some to grasp, but I just didn't enjoy permitting others to maintain open communications with me 24/7. It was an annoyance most dealt with as a consequence of the demanding and expanding world of technology and workplace expectations. Everyone felt entitled to my time. Everyone. Making them realize that they are not in fact entitled to my time was a challenge. I froze. Perhaps this is how Art felt when I tried to contact him. Did I smother him the way I feared the world would smother me? I walked to the back alley and phoned up Art, my artist. He didn't answer, just as I expected, but not what I had hoped for. I waited for the machine and left a message. "Art, hey, I'm performing tonight at Hagee Theater, you know, that venue we met at. Can you please come? It's the last night I'm performing before I leave the city for a month. I have a gig in Niagara Falls after this, and I really wanted to see you. Can you please just come tonight? I perform soon. If you miss my performance, it's fine. I just wanted to see you. I'll buy you a drink or something. Oh, wait, shit, you don't drink. I forgot. Well, they have bubble tea across the street. I know you like that. I'll get you a bubble tea. Can you please answer my messages?" The call ended. I called back again, hoping for another result. But then, when I got the voicemail, all I could mutter into the phone was, "I love you." I hung up. Maybe he would come tonight. Perhaps he just couldn't get to the phone. Maybe he couldn't answer the phone because he was driving over. I decided I needed a drink, just one. It didn't have to get wasted before the show. I just needed to take the edge off. I ordered a rum and Coke because it was the only thing I liked. Even though I was not a fan of Coke, it diluted the rum nicely. I often wondered why people drank before I started drinking more frequently. Then I realized that they did it for the same reason I did, to stay warm. A man in black pulled a chair and sat beside me and ordered the same drink as me. It was Wonderlust. He smiled at me and I smiled back. I felt nervous, but I didn't know why. I started fidgeting with the zipper in my jacket. "Are you performing tonight?" he asked. I nodded, and he smiled. You've been doing quite well for yourself, V, I blushed. I hear your name across the continent now. I've even heard your songs on the radio once. Have you ever considered taking on gigs in larger cities? I've noticed you play in a lot of local areas. Have you considered going abroad? Oh, I don't know, I smiled. Most of my travel is by car. I don't think I could go abroad right now. Oh, you most definitely can, insisted Wonderlust, dreamy-eyed. Gigs in the States are incredible. I live in San Francisco for work. If you're ever in the area, you should come visit. I thanked him. V, I've got to say, I've had my eye on you. You seem to be making a name for yourself. You should be proud. Also, I was wondering, would you maybe want to go on a date sometime? Like hang out with you and your music speaks to me? I like hanging out with you and your music speaks to me. He wanted to go on a date, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to date anyone. I mean, I did like Wonderlust, and I thought he was talented, but I needed more time. Can I think about it, Wonderlust? I said. I just got out of a relationship, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to date again, and I like you too, but I'm not sure if I'm ready. Take all the time you need, V, Wonderlust smiled. Wait, he wasn't angry? I told him I would. You know, Wonderlust continued, changing the subject, I heard you play live last time you performed here. I have to say, you're excellent. You heard me? But how? I thought they kept you in the green room before your set. They tried to, he admitted, but I can never pass up on a concert. I was standing in the back. I heard your first song, the one about striving for success, the one about wanting to make the future a better place. You really are a visionary, V. I can tell by your music. My name! I started. Wait, was it? Yes, that was it. How could I have been so foolish? I'm a woman who lives in a constant state of trying to make the future the present. It all made perfect sense now. Visionary was my name. How did you know that was my name? How did you know that was what V stood for? I listened to your music, V. It says more about you than you realize. Wonderlust, a band member of Cypher, the only boy who wore all black, idolizing radical bands and traveling the continent. Of all the people I had met, he was the only one who had guessed my name. I needed a moment to consider this revelation. I have to go now, I started. I jumped up from the table. I have to prepare for my set. Wonderlust smiled and told me to break a leg. I thanked him and booked it to the stage. The microphone smelt like liquor tonight. I turned to the foggy crowd and set my eyes fixed on Art's seat. It was empty, so I decided to start with a sad song. I looked at the bar and saw Wonderlust, and he smiled at me from the crowd. I wrote a song in the light, I told the crowd. It's called My Artist. But it's not like my other songs. This one ends on a low note. You see, when something beautiful ends, we're meant to feel sad about it. I picked up my ukulele and strummed the chords. I started singing Art's song, and the crowd fell silent as I grew numb. From Angel's perspective, the narrator. Dear reader, the lyrics are reserved for the people present that night, not to be disclosed for all to hear, but I'll tell you this much about them. The lyrics were perfect and also hopeless. It was the song for the hopeless romantic, and that is what made it so perfectly sad. Back to V's perspective. When my song came to a close, the audience looked gloomy, but I didn't care. Tonight, I wanted to be the shot that sobered them. This next song I started is called Smothered. It is the song written in the dark. I started to sing and the audience looked even more somber than they did previously, but again, I didn't care. Proceeded to belt out the blues, one sad note after the next, as if they were neighbors to one another in the same dreary town. When I sang my heart dry, I bowed, but the audience did not applaud. They snapped. Strange, I thought to myself. They must have mistaken my songs for poetry. I blew a farewell kiss to Art's empty seat. Actually, everyone, hold on for a second. I have one more song I want to close the night off with. Do you mind if I sing it for you? The audience hooted and applauded. It's called Goodbye, I said, and so I sang, and so I wept. Jump in time. I finished my final song and took a bow. Cypher was up next. I looked to the right wing and saw Wonderlust. I nodded to him, but he looked back at me with this strange look on his face. It was one that I didn't recognize. I passed him in the wings before I went. He grabbed my arms. "B," he said. He looked into my eye. "You sing sad songs now. Why are they so sad?" I grabbed my wrist back from him. "Break a leg, Wonderlust," I said, brushing my tears aside and whisking myself away from the stage. I jogged to the washroom and looked at myself in the mirror. I could not recognize my reflection. I cleaned that smeared liner from my eyes. My stage foundation started to drip down my cheeks. I took a cloth to my face and wiped it clean. I looked into that mirror again, and I thought back to the mountainside. We never realized we've been, back to the mountainside. And I thought back to the mountainside. We never realize we've lost ourselves until we find ourselves again. I looked into the mirror and saw familiar eyes. Despite their disheveled appearance that surrounded them, they remained consistent. They remained familiar. But where was Angel? I looked at the washrooms. I checked the stalls. I looked at the ceilings and the floor tiles. Why hadn't Angel come to rescue me? She said she would be there when in my times of distress. But where was she now? Where are you now, Angel? I called to the heavens. They did not hear me. Where are you now when I need you most? Where are you now at the peak of the cyclone? Still no answer. I wanted to cry, but before I could, a woman entered the washroom. She wore a skin-tight dress and looked a tad tipsy. "Oh my God!" she exclaimed as I dried my eyes. "You're V, the one who had just performed. I'm a huge fan of your music. I bought your album and I listened to your covers off of YouTube." "Oh, yeah, that's me," I smiled. "You're incredible. I love your music. Please never stop making it. It helps me as I'm going through something." "It did?" I was shocked. I wrote my music so I could heal. I didn't realize I was helping someone else in the process. "Yes, I love your music, especially the sad songs. They have a weird way of cheering me up. I don't know if that makes sense, but I love your songs. They can get a little dark at times, but I still love them." She liked my sad songs? I know this stranger meant this as a compliment, but I interpreted it as a rude awakening. I didn't intend on being a singer of the blues. I wanted to write cheerful songs, radical political movement songs. Had I gotten weak? Why was I always so sad now? "Get out there, girl! Cypher is about to start playing again." "You'll love their shit. I'm their biggest fangirl. Swear to God you'll fall in love with them." I had never actually gotten the chance to hear Cypher play. All I knew about them was that they were a soft rock band. That they were a soft rock, Beatles-inspired band that supposedly sang radical and sometimes downright socialist songs. I wanted to hear them for myself. I nodded to the woman and thanked her for supporting my music. I went out to the audience and saw Wonderlust on stage, tuning his guitar. The technicians were finally ready and signaled Cypher to start. One of the ASMs cued the lights and stage illuminated to the soft red/pinkish color. Wonderlust cleared his throat. "This is a song I composed the tune a while ago, but I couldn't find the words to fit it. But inspiration finally hit me tonight as I was backstage just now," he explained. We all listened in silence. It's called If Only, and it's dedicated to the visionaries. He made direct eye contact with me. "Enjoy." The band began to play. From the narrator's perspective, Angel. The lyrics were meant for V and V only. It was as if the audience was eavesdropping into a private conversation, the song about a broken heart and a wonder-eyed man's desire to mend it. V didn't know she needed a song like this until she heard it. In this intimate moment with Wonderlust, the cyclone subsided, even if only for a moment. But when V was alone again with her thoughts, the troubled air resurfaced and thickened around her. The wind tormented her and made it a challenge to breathe. The cyclone was at its peak May 19th, Art's birthday. Skip forward in time. I decided to get drunk on his birthday. Couldn't handle it sober. I listened to an Adele song and cried because it reminded me of my last night with him. Now, I don't usually drink alone. In fact, I don't regularly drink, period. This said, I definitely don't drink alone. I was warned against it once. Always drink with friends, never alone, because when you drink alone, no one will be there to sober you. Today I wanted to be numb. I wanted to be numb. I needed to be numb. May 18th, one day before your birthday, 2 days before we met, broke up a year prior, I felt isolated, abandoned, and betrayed. I tried to think of the negative memories to get over you. All the times I had spoken up, all the times you canceled last minute, every time I checked to see if you had tried to reach me and hadn't. Every time we fought, every time we cried, but every time I tried to remember the bad, I was reminded instead of your heart. I thought back to the times you made me cry. This love was real, I thought to myself. He cries for me. How could I have made him cry? Or I would think to the way Art wrapped his arms around my torso and pulled me closer into him. This love is real, I thought. He pulls me close. I don't think he'll ever let go. I thought back to when I made... not reading that part either. The sweetest boy I'd ever met loves me and wants me. He is the future. I want to make him the present. Some people live in the past, and I live in a constant state of trying to make my future the present. But I didn't know him. But I didn't know how. That is why I wrote Art a love letter by hand every week to win him back. It's why I cried at his doorstep after a fight. It is why I reserved him a seat at every show. And it is why I wrote him poetry, even after he was gone. I was so broken when he left because I thought he was perfect. I knew you were beautiful. When I saw Art, I saw love, I saw kindness, and I saw a gentle-hearted man with a difficult life. All he wanted was to tend to a flame that burnt him one too many times before. It left his hands smoldered. Without Art, who tended to the flame, it got out of control. The flame threw fits, burning down the forest because all it wanted was for him to return. The flame needed Art to tend to it, but he became ice cold. On paper, fire and ice sound lovely, but in practice one melts and the other mourns his loss. I was drunk. I blasted sad music, and the tune tickled my eardrums. My motel had a phone. I dialed up Art. Art, I just wanted to let you know I worry about you a lot. I care about you so much, and I worry I'm not with you now, but I love you and I want you back. You were supposed to be my future. And then we both let pride and passion get in the way of that. I am a poet, and you write sad poems and I write sad poems with you and sad poems without you. I can't breathe without you. I can't imagine a future without you either. Every time I think of my future, I see you there with me. I don't believe in soulmates, and I know it was terrible for you. But I loved your heart and your mind and your soul, if souls exist anyway. I love your art, and I want it back in my life. I can't imagine a future without you, and I would wait in empty coffee shops for the rest of my days if I was certain that someday he would sit across from my table and hold my hands again. Now I have to move on, and it hurts. You left me, and I knew you were right in doing so. I knew it's probably tough on you too. Man, losing the one you love, it's horrible. It's like a cyclone, but even more chaotic. The voice memo ended. I cried again and called one last time. Art, I love you so, effing much. It doesn't say effing in the book, but I'm not repeating that. I love you so effing much. It breaks me to see you don't want to talk anymore. I really want you. If I can't have you, I hope you find someone who loves you and appreciates you the way you deserve to be loved. I wasn't perfect, but you deserve someone who is. Because I think you're perfect. I was sobbing. Please reach out if you ever need anything. I have my laptop. You can reach out to me online. I won't pressure you to get back together. I'm going to try to move on. But I will always love you, and I will always be here if you ever need a friend like me. I tried to flash him a fake smile through the phone. In my drunken state, I thought if I mustered up a fake smile, I could fool him into thinking I was okay. Thankfully, it was a phone call and he couldn't see me. He would have known my smile was fake. The doorbell rang. It was food service. My ice cream! I exclaimed. I leapt up to answer the door, but the room was spinning. I waited for the room to still, and when I finally got to the table, the housekeeping had already left. They left my tub of ice cream for me on the ground. I was too drunk to be grossed out by this. My chocolate ice cream, I thought to myself. I was ecstatic. I walked back to my bed and began to eat. Beyonce, I thought to myself, then Selena, then Ariana, then Hazley. I want to listen to them all tonight. The room kept spinning as I walked to my laptop. Oh no! I tipsily laughed. My ice cream is melting. I laughed so hard at this arbitrary thing. The room kept spinning as I started to watch music videos on my laptop. They were so funny. Well, if I were sober. I would not have thought so. But now that I was intoxicated, I found them hilarious. Began to pick out things I did not notice the first time I watched these videos. Being drunk is like having a superpower, I thought to myself. Wonderlust, I said aloud, laughing. Why exactly, I was not sure. I logged into Facebook and sent him and started to message him. I'm slightly intoxicated. I sent him with no context. I was laughing so hard. After listening to some more music, I heard a ping from my phone. Intoxicated, he replied. I started to cry without entirely understanding why. Yes, I replied, not sure what else to say. He began to message me more. I heard my phone ping several times. I decided not to look right away. I wanted to listen to my music. Why I couldn't bear it any longer. I looked at the screen. I hope you are having fun, he said. Are you with friends or alone? Alone, I sniffled. I'm too sad to have any sun. I started to weep again. I decided to drink more beer to numb the pain. I rechecked my phone. I did not hear it ping. But there were 3 more messages for me. Are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? Is it because of today's date? Wait, did I tell him it was Art's birthday? I guess I did. But he was right, and I was not one to lie. Yes, I responded heartlessly. Wonderlust responded instantly with 2 sad face emojis. I was not sure how to rectify the situation. I wanted to fix the situation, but I was too drunk to think straight. Are you mad at me? I'm sorry, Wonderlust. I like you a lot. But I'm still sad. Are you okay? I waited for the longest minute of my life. I'm not mad, he replied. I just wish I was there to help you feel better. I started crying again, but for good reason this time. Tried to message him and explain that I just had to mourn this year because this year was quite horrible. My family hates me, Wonderlust, I said. I was starting to sober up, so my messages became a little more articulate. I'm very sensitive about dates, and this is a sensitive date. It's the day Art and I broke up. And then my hell began for another 6 months in limbo. I sobbed into the phone. He seemed to understand. Wonderlust, I started. Do you know why we give roses to the ones we love? No, V, I hadn't given it much thought. It wouldn't be the first time a boy hasn't given it much thought, I said in a drunken slur. Wonderlust, roses need a lot of water to grow and thrive. If you don't water it, the rose withers. Wonderlust asked me for updates on my mood throughout the evening. He wanted to make sure I was okay. I thanked him for messaging. He wondered if he was bothering me by checking, and I said no. His texts were making me feel better. The room smelled like beer, and the stench was crowding me. I considered calling Art again, but I decided against it. Decided to send him one last message. It was time to move on. Happy birthday, Art. I hope it was a good one. I passed out. Jump in time. I wrote 2 hours later to see my laptop was still on autoplay. A 2015 Pink song was playing. I love her, I thought. Pink doesn't need anyone. I checked my phone again. Wonderlust was trying to message me. I told him I fell asleep and was sorry for the late reply. He said not to worry. He wished me a good night. Sleep well, V, he said. But I didn't. Because who can sleep in the confusion of a cyclone? So that's Cyclone. And now you get 2 chapters in one because these chapters are a little shorter. So now, get your tissues ready because we're going for Chapter 12, Fallen Stars. We collect stardust to remember the fallen stars. Signed V. And if you're reading this from your book, it's on page 241. I was still drunk when I got the call. It was Sunny. She contacted me through Facebook Messenger. I was surprised because it was 3 a.m. and Sunny and I hadn't spoken since I left the artistic alcove in the city of bobcats. I debated calling her back the next morning when I was sober, but I figured if Sunny was calling, there was a good reason. It could be an emergency, so I decided to pick up the call. Sunny, hi. How are you? Trying my best to sound sober, though I doubt I fooled her. Sunny, hi. How are you? Oh, sorry, shoot. V, are you sitting down? Yeah, she asked me. I could hear her sobbing on the other end. What's wrong, Sunny? I had never heard Sunny cry before. Why are you talking like this? Sunny asked, concerned. Like what? You're slurring your words. Are you drunk? She caught me. A little bit, I confessed. I'm assuming you already know. V, that's not the way you should handle grief. There are healthier ways to cope. Who told you? Was it Cheery? Was she talking about grieving a past relationship? And how was Cheery supposed to tell me about anything about Art? He didn't even know about him. My mind was fuzzy and I didn't understand what was happening. When I didn't answer, Sunny started to sob into the phone again. What's wrong, Sunny? I asked, trying to comprehend the situation. What do you mean? I lost my best friend, V. What do you mean, what's wrong? Sunny started sobbing again. Sunny, I don't know what's going on. Cheery hasn't told me anything. I don't understand why you're sad right now. When you're ready, can you tell me what's wrong so I can understand what's going on? Sunny sniffled. Oh, V, it's Yippee. My heart sunk in my chest, and I felt it might stop beating altogether. Yippee? What happened to Yippee? Were they okay? Was it the cashier at Bill's boutique? Did she have them arrested for trying on that dress again? Did Yippee go missing? Maybe they wanted to wander the world, too. Maybe I could find them. Where's Yippee? I said, panicked. V, Sunny sobbed. Yippee is in the stars. They passed away. I found them in the bookstore, sleeping in the back room. Their body was frozen cold. They died, V. Yippie's dead. I was stunned. Yippee was gone? What? I was heartbroken. Yippie's gone? How did they die? What happened? People came to inspect their body. Nothing's confirmed, but they think Yippee died of an overdose. Mitty just told Cherry and I that Yippee was homeless for all these years. Neither of us had any idea. Mitty said they didn't want us to know, but she said that that was why they were sleeping in the shop. No one knew Yippee was using, not even Mitty. V, I know you're probably miles away from us, so there's no pressure to come to the viewing. Yippee would have understood, but I just wanted to tell you. I thought of the cashier, who clearly loved Yippee, despite not wanting to let on. How would they feel about Yippie's death? How did Mitty and Sherry feel? Sunny was clearly devastated. Was it right for me to feel devastated too? I had only known Yippee for a few days. Yippee and I crossed paths for only a moment. Then we parted ways. Am I allowed to feel broken for losing Yippee, even though I had barely known them? Did you tell the cashier? I blurted out. The cashier? What cashier? Yippee never told Sunny about the cashier? Maybe it was alright for me to mourn Yippee, despite not knowing them for long. After all, not even those closest to Yippee ever fully knew them. Sunny is in the city center. In the city center there is a woman with a bob cut in a prom dress shop. She works as a cashier there, and Yippee was in love with them. She visits her every day and tried on the same prom dress to get their attention. Please, Sunny. Yippee would have wanted them at their funeral. Tell the cashier about Yippee, and tell her that they loved them more than anything in the world. Yippee had a sketchbook filled with her drawings of her. Tell her that. Tell her that about Yippee. Let Yippee live on in that cashier's memory. It is what they would have wanted. Sunny and I cried together over the fallen star who dreamt of the universe even though it never worked in their favor. I told Sunny I couldn't go to Yippie's funeral because that's not how I mourned. I mourned through music. A critic might say Yippie's death was too abrupt, that it didn't contribute to the story. It was random, unnecessary to the plot. Well, that's kind of the point. See, dear reader, in real life, sometimes there isn't some greater purpose to catastrophe. Sometimes the good among us will die. There is no rhyme or reason to it. Trying to contextualize Yippie's death, finding the inner meaning in it, analyzing their life, trying to understand why they got the short end of the stick. Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound like the real world? Yippee died and lived by unfortunate circumstances contributed by a failed, corrupt society. They, just like the farmer, Yippee didn't value the society because the society didn't value them. My heart ached for two now. While one was living and the other had passed, and I knew I would never see either again. When stars fall, they don't break, but the hearts of those who love them do. That's it. So, those were chapters 11 and 12. Next time you come in, we're going to be reading chapter 13, my favorite chapter, because it was inspired by someone who's very important to me. So, yeah, that's... Sorry if I made you a little sad today. That's the intent. But yeah, that's, those were all the sad chapters out there, and now we're looking on to a happier chapter, because it was inspired by someone who is a dream catalyst. I'll spoil that much. So, thank you for listening in. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. If you made it this far, you've shown that you're committed to the story, and I really appreciate it. If you want to purchase a book, it's on Amazon.com, American website. And yeah, thanks for supporting. See you next week, Monday, 6 p.m. for my favorite chapter, chapter 13, Paper Planes. And it's a good chapter, and it has Wonderlust back in it, my favorite character. I think authors are not supposed to pick favorite characters, but I did, so it's fine. Okay, bye, thank you.